Every month, someone tells you to set intentions on the new moon. Light a candle, write a list, manifest. And every month, most people feel nothing and wonder what they are doing wrong. March 18th is different, and I will tell you exactly why. Not because of ritual, not because of belief, but because of what is astronomically, measurably happening in the sky that night. 6 planets in Pisces simultaneously. 7 bodies in water signs at once. A Saturn-Neptune conjunction that closes a 36-year cycle. Mercury retrograde sitting directly on the North Node. This is not a regular lunar reset. This is a detonation point disguised as a quiet night. And the 9 symptoms your body has already been sending you this week are not spiritual theory. They are your nervous system responding to a pressure that is genuinely there. There is a reason this particular new moon feels so different. Not just because it falls in Pisces. Every year has a Pisces new moon. This one carries something extra. At the exact moment the moon goes dark on March 18th at 9:23 p.m. Eastern Time, the sun and moon will not be alone. Mercury retrograde is sitting right beside them. Venus is close. Mars and Neptune are woven into the same degrees. 6 planets are simultaneously placed in Pisces. And when you add Jupiter sitting in Cancer, that brings 7 celestial bodies into water signs at once. 7. Think about what water does. It dissolves, it cleanses, it carries things from one place to another without any effort on its part. When 7 planetary forces are all moving through water simultaneously, the field you are living in becomes extraordinarily permeable. The boundary between what you feel and what others feel becomes thinner. The boundary between past and present softens. The boundary between what you know and what you sense collapses just enough for something deeper to surface. And none of that is accidental. This new moon is also closing the energetic door that was opened by the solar eclipse on February 17th. Eclipse portals do not open and close in a single day. They move energy across weeks, and what began building in mid-February reaches its final exhale here. If something has felt unresolved since then, a conversation, a decision, an emotion you could not quite locate, this is the moment that energy finds its resting place. Add to that the Saturn-Neptune conjunction forming right now, a cycle that only completes every 36 years, and you begin to understand why this is not an ordinary week. The last time this happened, entire cultural paradigms shifted. And it is beginning again, quietly, in the dark of a Pisces moon. The first thing many people notice in the days surrounding a Pisces new moon, this strong, is that their dreams change. Not just become more vivid. That word is almost too simple. They become layered. You wake up and you are not sure which world you just came from. The dream lingers in a way that dreams usually do not, sitting at the edge of your awareness through the morning, sometimes through the entire day. You might find yourself remembering a dream from 3 nights ago with sudden clarity, as though it is trying to tell you something it did not finish. This is not randomness. Neptune, the planet that governs the unconscious, the imagination, and the dissolving of boundaries, is conjunct the new moon. Conjunct means sitting on top of, fused with, speaking through. And the pineal gland, that small structure in the center of your brain that science links to melatonin production and spiritual traditions, linked to the seat of inner vision, becomes particularly sensitive under Neptunian influence. What is happening is not confusion, it is reception. Your system is downloading information that your waking mind would filter out if it had the chance. When you wake from one of these layered dreams, and something in it stays with you. Do not dismiss it. Write it down, even a fragment, even just a feeling. Seeds do not arrive fully grown. The second symptom is one that catches people off guard because it does not feel like their own emotion. It is a heaviness, a weight in the chest that you cannot trace back to anything specific that happened to you today. You might sit down to work and feel the quiet press of sadness, or a kind of ache that has no obvious source. And you look around your life and think, nothing is wrong. So where is this coming from? What is happening is that with 7 planets in water signs, the psychic membrane between individuals becomes extraordinarily thin. You are not imagining that you are absorbing what is in the field around you. Pisces energy, especially amplified to this degree, makes every sensitive person something like a sponge. It is not weakness. In fact, the people who feel this most strongly are often the ones who carry the highest degree of emotional intelligence. But what you need to know is that not everything you are feeling right now belongs to you. Some of it is collective. Some of it is the residue of the eclipse cycle completing. Some of it is the grief that comes whenever a long chapter nears its final page. Distinguishing your emotion from the surrounding field is the skill this week is asking you to practice. Before you process a feeling, ask where it came from. That one small pause changes everything. The third thing you may notice is an almost physical desire to be alone. Not loneliness. This is important to separate. Loneliness is the ache for connection. What this is feels more like a need to return to yourself before you can be present with anyone else. You might cancel plans without fully knowing why. You might find that social interaction, even with people you love, feels like it costs more than usual. You might crave quiet in a way that has a direction to it, as though silence is not the absence of something, but the presence of something you cannot hear when there is noise. This pull toward withdrawal under a Pisces stellium is not avoidance. It is actually an act of deep attunement. Pisces is the 12th sign of the zodiac, the one that governs retreat, introspection, and the kind of inner work that cannot happen in company. When 6 planets occupy this sign simultaneously, the invitation to go inward becomes less of a gentle suggestion and more of a structural reality. The people who resist it, who keep filling their schedule and refusing the quiet, often find that the emotion they were trying to outrun reaches them anyway, usually at 2 in the morning, when the distractions have finally run out. The people who accept the quiet early find that what waits inside it is not what they feared. It is clarity. It is recognition. It is themselves. The fourth symptom is subtler, and some people dismiss it as tiredness or distraction. Your mind keeps drifting. You are in the middle of a sentence and you lose the thread. You sit at your desk and 10 minutes pass, and you realize you have been staring at nothing, following a thought somewhere you cannot quite locate. In an ordinary week, you might call this brain fog and reach for another coffee. But this is not brain fog. This is your attention being redistributed. Mercury is retrograde right now, sitting directly conjunct the new moon. Mercury governs how the mind moves, how it organizes, how it tracks linear sequence. When Mercury is retrograde, especially in Pisces, the mind does not want to move in straight lines. It wants to drift. It wants to circle back. It wants to make connections that do not follow logical order. And the truth is, during a Neptunian, watery, final degree Pisces new moon, the most important thinking you will do this week is not linear. It is associative. It is the kind of thinking that happens when you are in the shower or walking without a destination or just before you fall asleep. Do not fight the drift this week. Follow it. Notice what it keeps returning to. That repetition is information. The fifth symptom is one that many people find disorienting, even a little unsettling, until they understand what is behind it. Old faces start returning, old places, old versions of conversations that you thought were finished. You might find yourself thinking about someone you have not spoken to in years, not with longing necessarily, just a quiet, recurring presence in your awareness. You might dream about a place from your childhood. You might suddenly remember a decision you made 5 years ago and feel a new layer of understanding about why you made it. This is Mercury retrograde conjunct the North Node. The North Node in Pisces points toward the direction the collective is being called to evolve. When Mercury, the planet of thought and communication, stations retrograde directly on that point, it turns the mind backward for a specific reason. Not to pull you into regret, not to trap you in nostalgia, but to let you retrieve something you left behind. There is a piece of understanding, a piece of yourself, a thread of knowing that got dropped somewhere along the way. The faces and memories returning right now are not random. They are maps. They are pointing you toward the piece you left behind, so you can finally bring it with you into what comes next. The sixth symptom is the one people describe as strange knowing. You pick up your phone to call someone, and it rings before you dial. You think of an answer to a problem before you have consciously asked the question. You walk into a room and know immediately, before a single word is spoken, what the energy in that room is. You might have chalked this up to coincidence before. This week, the frequency of it increases, and the accuracy of it increases, and at some point, coincidence becomes too small a word for what is happening. Neptune conjunct the new moon does not just heighten dreams, it heightens the entire intuitive channel. Neptune dissolves the boundary between the rational mind and the deeper signal that is always present beneath it. The seventh symptom is in your sleep, and not just in your dreams. The sleep itself changes. You might find you wake between 2 and 4 in the morning with unexpected alertness, as though something gently pulled you out of rest. Or you might find it difficult to fall asleep at all, not because your mind is racing, but because there is a kind of quiet hum, an ambient awareness that does not want to switch off. Some people sleep much more than usual during a period like this, finding 10 or 11 hours and still waking gently, foggy. All of these are variations of the same thing. The nervous system is processing. Pisces governs the lymphatic system, the feet, the thyroid, and the subtle channels of the body that most people never think about until something feels off. With this many planets in Pisces, including Neptune sitting directly on the Sun and Moon, the physical body is undergoing a kind of recalibration that primarily happens during rest. The disrupted sleep is not a problem. It is part of the process. If you wake at 3 in the morning and find yourself alert, do not fight it. Lie still. Breathe. Let whatever needs to move through you do so. You will not remember what happened in those quiet minutes, but your body will. The eighth symptom is harder to articulate, but widely felt, and once you hear it named, you will likely recognize it. It is the feeling of being between things, not lost, between, as though the life you were living up until recently has already begun to recede, but the one that is coming has not yet fully arrived. There is a particular quality of suspension to it, like standing in a doorway, and the mind, which is trained to organize reality into clear categories of before and after, finds this kind of liminality uncomfortable. It wants to know which side of the door you are on. But the honest answer this week is neither. Not yet. This new moon sits at 28 degrees of Pisces, 2 degrees from the final degree of the final sign of the zodiac. In 2 days, the sun moves into Aries, and the astrological year begins again. The new moon is catching you exactly at that threshold. The feeling of suspension is accurate. You are at the edge of something. And the discomfort of not knowing exactly what is on the other side is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is the sensation of a real transition, one that is actually happening, one that will look entirely different from the far side. The ninth symptom is the most physical of all, and also the most quietly telling. Something in your body is moving toward water. You might find yourself craving it, not just as thirst, but as presence. Standing longer in the shower, wanting to be near a river or the ocean or even just a bathtub filled and still. Your feet might feel unusually sensitive, or you might notice an awareness in the arches, the soles, a gentle heaviness. Pisces rules the feet and the lymphatic system, and under a stellium this concentrated, the body does not interpret spiritual information the way the mind does. The mind makes meaning. The body makes movement. It moves toward what it needs. If something in you wants softness, wants water, wants silence, wants to slow down and stop the doing for just a few hours, that is not laziness. That is your physical system correctly reading the field and asking for what the moment requires. Let it. A new moon in Pisces at this magnitude does not reward relentless activity. It rewards presence. It rewards the willingness to be still long enough to hear what the silence is actually saying. And right now, right here, at the final threshold of the astrological year, the silence is saying something worth hearing. There is a reason these 9 symptoms matter, not because they are problems to be solved, but because they are signals that something real is happening. You did not manufacture the heaviness, the dreams, the drift, the knowing, the pull toward quiet. These are the ways the body and the psyche register an event of actual magnitude. And March 18th is that. The final new moon of the year in a water sign so saturated with planetary presence that the field around you is genuinely different from what it was a month ago. Something is completing. Something is being cleared. And the clearing, as all clearings do, leaves space for something new to take root. Seeds grow in the dark. They do not need light to begin. They need the right conditions. The right softness, the right depth, the right stillness. You have all 3 right now. You do not have to do anything dramatic with this. You do not have to perform your awakening or announce your transformation. Just let it happen. Pay attention to what is surfacing. Write down the dream you wake from. Sit with the emotion that has no name. Follow the drift when your mind goes quiet and loose. Take care of your feet. Drink the water. Let yourself be between things for a little while longer. The new chapter is already beginning. You are already in it. And this time, you are going in with your eyes open.